Hello, and welcome back. Today is going to be one of the first in-depth videos I do, because today we are actually going to be replacing the CV axle seal for the front driver's side. Now, the issue we're having is it's leaking. I caught it early enough to where we know that the CV axle isn't broken, because obviously there'd be much more vibrations, but we can tell it's leaking because it starts to vibrate and there's a leak. And initially I thought it was oil. Wasn't oil because it was clear. Kept checking, and then finally figured out after I took this wheel off that it was leaking from the CV axle. So I'm going to get the tire or the car jacked up, the tire off, and then also there should be a shield right under there if you can see it. I got to take the bolts off too, and then I'll be able to fully in-depthly see and get to the CV axle. So I'll see you guys once I'm there. Okay, so there's the cover I said I had to take off that protects the transmission. That's actually the box for the jack. A fun thing you can use that for is if you're taking off bolts and you don't have a good place to put them. If you have a case, you just put them right in the case. There's the tire, the jack iron, some tools you have to use. You'll have to have one of these or something like it. I have my entire toolbox open along with the torque wrench, and then there's the stuff that has to go back in it. My car takes 75W90 gear oil for transmission fluid. And then here's the new seal for the CV axle that I ordered. I got a new case because obviously you don't want to put transmission fluid into an oil pan that already has oil in it, so I got a new one. And then somewhere along the way, I'll have to show you the bigger bolt that's used to take the axle nut off. But what we're trying to do is get right up here into there is where we got to get. So we got to take off quite a bit of stuff here. I'll get through it and then I'll show you what we have to take off, but I'll see you guys in a little bit. Okay, so the first thing when you get down here is you gotta take the cotter pin out, which I put right over here, along with this retaining clip. And now you gotta find what size axle nut you need. So I got a bunch of big ones over here that we can test. Socket and all that. See how that one's a little too. Not wanting to go on. This one still a little rigid. So the closest one I have is this one. No, it wasn't this one. It was this one that goes on but doesn't fit. And this is a 1 1/4, so I'm guessing it's basically just a 1 inch. So I'll find a 1 inch. Oh,
probably way too big, but that's for a Dodge truck.
So see you guys in a little bit. So just before I keep going here, you can definitely see that up top you don't see any liquid or fluid up around here. When you get below the CV axle, you can see that the CV axle itself is wet. The entire area around it is wet and it's leaking right there. You can definitely tell that the seal for my CV axle is done. So that's what we're replacing is right there. You know, you'll have to take the CV axle out, which is why we're working on that bolt, and you'll have to get, I believe it's one of the tie rods. I don't think it's this one. You can move. It's not the bottom one. I believe it's the one on the right side that we have to take out to be able to move it around. But if you catch it quick enough, you won't have to actually replace your CV axle because enough dirt and grime gets up in there to break it. But I believe I caught it quick enough to where I don't have to worry about it since it's only leaking from right there. So I'll get back to you guys in a little while. So real quick, we're going to run to the store and get the right size for this. That's deep dish so we can actually get it on there to break the nut. But one thing I am worried about while I'm waiting is that these ones are really rusted on, and they're going to have a hard time coming out. So I'm going to use PB Blaster. It's supposed to loosen and break stuff. It's a penetrating catalyst. My grandfather always called it monkey piss because basically it eats at anything. So I'm just going to get the starts of the bolts sprayed down along with the nuts because you want to be able to take it off. And then just because I might need a little bit, I'll spray a little bit just inside here to make sure it comes off. If it gets on the brake, that's okay. You can always use brake cleaner just to spray it off, but I'd rather be safe and make sure I can get these bolts off than screw myself over and snap one or something like that because that gets more expensive. So we're going to go get the right size nut for this, and we'll be right back. Okay, and we're back from Menards, and oh, hey, there's a soda in there. A knife and some other things. Okay. That's his. This is his. This is for me. And what we got was a 1 1/8, a 3/4 wrench for the other side of this bolt, and then a 28 just to make sure we can get the right one that fits this. So we're going to get these off and figure out which one fits. So, turns out the socket we had was actually already the right one. So, these two new ones are kind of useless, but we did get the 3/4 wrench, which we still do need. So, we got to get this off, and then we got to get this off, which will be a little bit more of a pain because I don't want to strip it or anything. And I put some PB Blaster on there hoping it did good. This really broke surprise loose easily. I'm guessing probably because hopefully the PB Blaster, but we'll get her off and take a gander. So, good news. We didn't strip it. It's coming out just fine. This one will be a little bit harder because it's a little bit lower, but as soon as you get those two out, then all we got to worry about is this tie rod over here. So, we'll get these two out, and then we'll get to the tie rod. So, I don't have the specific tool that you got to rent to be able to pull that out, and I don't want to mess with it. But lucky enough, we were just able to kind of yank on it and pull it this way, and it's a CV axle, so it turns, so we got it out. So the next part will be getting a drain plug there for the old transmission fluid, and then getting a pry bar and a hammer and just getting it to slowly slide out. So, see you there. Okay, I'm going to be honest. That was a real issue to get out. It's a lot of finding the right position up under here and prying with it. It really doesn't like it. But once you get it out, you'll know. You'll kind of plop out. You'll be able to move it back and forth a little bit, and there'll be a little gap in between the CV axle and that where you can pry it, and I did. And now that old seal's really stuck in there, so I got to find a way to get it out just because it's probably been in there since 2000 when it was put in. So I'll get her out and put the new one in and show you guys. See you in a bit. So I got it out. It was a bit of a B word. The old seal is over there, actually. The best way to do it I've found is you got to get one of these little crowbars like this and just prop it up underneath and use the transfer case or the transmission to prop it out. You don't want to ruin anything in there, and I didn't really know how it looked like, but I got it out, and now I just got to find a socket big enough to go over this so I can just hammer it on even. So I'll be back when this is put on there. Okay, well, I had an exhaust piece that fit over it perfectly. So if I turn on the flash and I go up underneath there, you can see that it's all in there even now. So it's in, and now it's ready for me to put the drive shaft back in. So I'll see you when it's there. So after you get the seal on, it's just very simple putting the gear back in. You might have some resistance. The best way to do that is if you do have resistance and you can still shuffle it up and down, you need to get it pushed in. You can actually take the axle and hit it with a hammer to get it to slide in. In my case, all I kind of had to do is grab where it initially was and push in, and it went in all the way pretty easily after I used a grease gun, so make sure you grease up the end. Then we got it put back through this end right here, and then I put this bolt in back up here to make sure that it doesn't go anywhere. So I'll actually get this tightened on first, and then after that, it should just be pretty simple, so I'll just have to put these bolts back in. So I'll see you guys when I'm there. Okay, so we got these two bolts on back here. We never took the tie rod off, so now that I got these two tightened down pretty good, I don't think I can make them go anywhere. The last part is just tightening down the main nut for the wheel. We're going to really make sure it's cranked on there. There's probably a torque spec, but I mean, it's only a 2000 Toyota Corolla, so the chances of something being wrong are pretty dismal, just because it doesn't require a lot of torque like it would be if we were working on the truck. So I think that's good. I don't think it's going to go anywhere now, so I'll see you guys once I have the tire on. Oh, I forgot. Actually, we're not going to put the tire on yet. We still got to put the gear oil in, refill it from right, if I can find way up here, that bolt. So we'll show you guys how we do that. So now we're just pumping new fluid in, and it lost quite a bit, so it's probably going to be a good little bit before it'll actually leak out of the transmission. See, I got to use gear oil because technically my transmission's classified as a gearbox. So now I took the oil I keep calling it the oil, the transmission drain plug out, put the new stuff in, and you just keep going until it comes out. And it's pretty dry because it lost a lot while I was messing with that seal trying to get the new one in, and then not to mention the amount it leaked out just over time from being a bad seal. We'll come back to you when it starts leaking. Okay, so as you can see, I'll zoom in on it. When he goes to pump it, it leaks out faster. So we are now at the limit. It did hold 2 quarts, and this was the second one. So now all we gotta do is put that oil, or dang it, again, that transmission drain plug back in. Okay, so we got it filled up. It started leaking out. We put the drain plug in. I put the black cover back on, and we got the wheel on. Now it's time to test her out, make sure everything works fine. It doesn't leak anymore. So we got it done. Driving it around, the transmission feels absolutely fine. Coincidentally, I lost all 2 quarts of the original oil. There was not all of it, but only a little bit was left since most of it drained out of the oil pan. And so at the same time, I kind of did a transmission fluid change, which makes me happy just because it's got new fluid in there, making it better and all that. It drives straight, so none of the suspension or anything's wrong, so I don't need to get it realigned or anything. I'm happy to get it done. It doesn't leak anymore as far as I know of. We'll look down there real quick just to make sure. Nope, no leaking. So that is how you replace a CV axle on a 2000 Toyota Corolla 5-speed manual. Thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.